involved in a sick racist power trip, but the public servant was also pimping out her department's background check capabilities and doing favors for criminals by looking up their status in the system. Sorkel's sick acts of racism and forced humiliation would have likely been overlooked and dismissed had she not been caught using the background check system. She was caught abusing the system on at least 19 different occasions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. Israel's three largest banks have all been ordered to pay record fines, which collectively are set to total over $1 billion to the U.S. government, after the banks were found to have actively colluded with thousands of wealthy Americans in massive tax evasion schemes. Mint Press News reports the scandal has been reported widely in Israel, but has garnered little attention in the United States. The media blackout has been so surprising, it was even directly mentioned by the Times of Israel, given that similar revelations about other banks and offshore tax evasion schemes, such as those contained within the Panama Papers, led to global protests and even the resignations of some world leaders. The settlements are the end result of a series of Department of Justice probes that were related to the DOJ's 2007 investigation targeting UBS AG, Switzerland's largest bank. The focus of the probe turned to Israel a few years later in 2011, when it was determined that the Swiss subsidiaries of several of Israel's largest banks had actively aided Americans seeking to launder their money. If the black smoke over the Paris skyline and charred cars and buildings, which have become characteristic of France's increasingly violent yellow vest protests over the past months, weren't alarming enough, things look to get much worse as the government prepares to escalate. The anti-media reports that in an effort to clamp down on the unraveling security situation, which has lately seen banks and residential buildings torched and luxury stores and restaurants vandalized and destroyed, the French authorities have announced the deployment of anti-terrorism military forces in order to protect and secure public buildings. Following the worsening protest situation of the past weekend, which nearly turned deadly for random civilians caught up in the mayhem of rioters clashing with police, the government will redirect counter-terror troops from Operation Sentinel to focus on Yellow Vest-related threats. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
We turn to Washington, D.C., where America's roommates are holding a rally as part of their new One Vote Doesn't Matter political action campaign. The rally, which drew thousands of roommates, ranging from the guy who keeps all of his groceries in his room to the guy whose name the lease is under, is just a part of a surging grassroots movement to spread the message that one person's vote can't make a difference if you really, really think about it.
You know, this is like the most important election of our lifetime. We just want to get the word out that it's already been decided in some smoke-filled boardroom. You know, I pretty much minored in poli-sci, so I think I get this stuff.
Joining us now is Jason Copeland at a rally in the nation's capital. Jason, how would you describe the energy there?
Yeah, hi, Andrea. I'd say it's a definite chill vibe. I just saw the roommate whose only friend seems to be his younger brother and the guy who just has an air mattress in his room passing out flyers together. Now, the roommates do make some interesting points. The Electoral College it is weird.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome. This is The Call to Freedom, as always, broadcast from beautiful Keene, New Hampshire in the Liberty Radio studios. I am your host, Aria DiMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com, and I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from CryptoTip.org.
And he's brought in a number of interesting things to talk about because I was up until 6 o'clock this morning playing this stupid video game.
It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
It is. Luckily, today nothing stupid has happened. I'm not feeling particularly great. I'm trying to get the video from the coworker who recorded it, but last night, because at work we had some hot sauce expiring, so I and a coworker decided, okay, let's drink it.
Drink the hot sauce.
Yeah. So we got 2 6-ounce cups and we filled them. And I chugged about half of it. And he took a little sip and then like a little pansy was like, no, I can't do it. I was like, well, no,
couldn't
obviously
handle it,
not. Huh? You're not supposed to sip it first. That's like sticking your toe into the pool. Come on.
Of course you can't handle it if you're just going to eat a little bit. What was this, just normal hot sauce or was it ghost pepper? Or?
No, it was normal hot sauce. Actually, to be technical, it was mild sauce, which meant they add butter to it. So it was basically 1 part butter for 4 parts hot sauce.
Okay,
which did not help at all.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it would. That sounds like it would actually make things a little bit worse.
It made it worse, but for different reasons. Sure, it wasn't as hot as it could have been, but I mean, when you chug a half a cup of it, it's pretty hot.
Yeah, it's pretty hot, and it's going to go down hot, and it's going to go right through you hot.
Yeah, it took me about 10 minutes to recover from it.
Yeah, that's, oh my.
I was just like, nobody speak to me for a minute. It is on video. A coworker recorded it. I assumed she uploaded or she recorded it to Snapchat, but evidently did not because we're hip and cool. So of course we have our own Snapchat group.
Oh, of course.
But it's not there, so I've asked her directly for it. We're not friends on Facebook because I can't stand her for totally unrelated reasons. But so yeah, that's been interesting. But luckily, nothing stupid has happened today, so that's been good. But the panic buying of guns is a thing apparently coming to us from the newsroom of New Zealand. Apparently, although 37 New Zealanders have gone full potato and turned in their guns to the government for destruction, a number of New Zealanders are actually buying guns in sort of panic mode before they get banned.
The same thing happens here in the U.S. Every time there's some kind of mass shooting, everybody that was kind of on the fence goes to their nearest gun store and buys everything they can get a hold of.
Sure. There's still a shortage of .22 bullets in the United States from a number of years ago when I think it was the IRS bought I don't remember the exact number. I think it was 25 million.
22?
Yeah.
That's a little odd.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you certainly don't want the IRS buying large quantities of bullets, right?
I don't want the IRS buying... You mean 22 or 223?
I mean 22.
Because 22 is just like a little bitty tiny thing that...
Well, you got to keep in mind, I'm from Mississippi, where there are a ton of hunters. And the .22 shortage was something that they panicked about.
Okay.
And they continue to panic about it. Every single time that one of these stores, like Sportsman Warehouse or something, gets a new shipment of .22 bullets in, they sell out that same day.
Yeah, that's strange because the .22, that's a little thing you'd shoot small animals with. It's not something you would use in a law enforcement capacity, unless just like training rounds or something.
Well, I mean, you can certainly shoot a person with a .22.
Yeah, and it'll hurt.
Well, it might kill them. I mean, a lot of, people make fun of me because I carry a .38. They're like, oh, that's not going to do it. Dude, have you ever been shot? Because when you shoot somebody, it really doesn't matter whether it's a 9mm, a .38, or a Colt 45. They're going down, man.
Yeah, any of those will do.
If it's just blunt force trauma alone, they are hitting the ground.
Right.
Unless they're, high on meth or bath salts or something.
Now you put some hollow points in there.
They are hollow points.
That will stop somebody. Just one of those will be just fine.
Yeah. But it's good to know that the people in New Zealand are not in such a hurry to bend their knees to eternal oppression by surrendering their right to defend themselves from government tyranny.
Right. Most people in New Zealand, it sounds like, have got their heads not screwed on backward.
According to the newsroom, there has been a rush on gun shops with people panic buying in the wake of the Christchurch terror attack, and there's so much stupidity going on around the name Christchurch. A lot of people think that was the name of the mosque.
No, that's the name of the city.
Yeah. And they think that they called it Christchurch as a way of, engaging in their Muslim takeover of the world or whatever insanity.
People are actually saying this?
Oh, yes.
Dude, I know these people have the same access to the internet I do. What is wrong with them?
They are in entirely different places on the internet, I would say. The Shimo versus Nazi video on YouTube continues to get comments, and one of the ones who commented today said something like, "It's because of freaks like you that I'm glad the Muslims are taking over the world and they're going to implement Sharia law here in the United States."
Do you know what Sharia law is?
Yeah, unfortunately, he deleted that before I could actually reply to it. Maybe he
thought better of it?
Well, maybe he... No, certainly not. The rest of his comments are there. But maybe he looked into what the Call to Freedom historically was and was like, oh, this chick, this freak, sure, knows a lot of Muslims and has a pretty good understanding of what Sharia law actually is. And if it's a threat to anyone, it's a threat to aggressors. But following the Christchurch shooting, which killed 49 people on Friday, is it 49 or 50? The media
50,
doesn't seem to be able to make up its mind.
This article is actually about 5 days old at this point. So.
Okay. Following, the Prime Minister has promised to tighten New Zealand's already notoriously tight gun laws.
Indeed, there's not a whole lot more that you can do except for just round them up and take them away.
Yeah, which historically doesn't work very well for the state.
And that's what I understand they actually want to do.
Oh, I hope that the people in New Zealand have enough guns and enough ammunition to prevent that.
Yeah, well, they're going to have a lot of boating accidents with these guns.
What?
It's you've not heard this before?
No.
The cops come to take your guns and you're like, "Oh, I don't have any guns. I lost them in a boating accident."
Oh, okay.
They just went over the side.
Okay, fair enough. But following Ardern's comments on Saturday morning, gun shop owners at brick and mortar stores and online experienced a jump in sales. Good for them and good for the people of New Zealand. The Christchurch branch of Gun City was busy on Saturday with people buying guns and equipment. That's good. That's great. That's how you respond to mass shootings.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do.
You arm yourself so that if another one occurs, you can shoot the shooter, because that's what the police do, right?
Right.
But the issue there is that the police have to travel there, and in the case of...
Yeah, the police take 36 minutes to get there, but you're already there.
Well, in the city of Christchurch, it was like... it was about that. It was 36 to 40 minutes. I don't remember the exact time that was given, but this was a city, and the mosques were relatively in the center of that city. There's no excuse whatsoever.
Yeah, it should not have taken 36 minutes for police to get there, but it did.
Yeah, I get, the police being slow to respond to a burglary or something like that, but when we're talking about a mass shooting that ultimately results in 49 to 50 people killed and an additional 50 hospitalized, you would expect cops to respond more quickly to that. Of course, that expectation is based on the myth that police are required to do anything about it in the first place.
Right.
But even if they do take it upon themselves, because they are certainly not required to actually travel there and do something about it, there's still a delay in that process where they have to travel there.
Right. They have to get from wherever they are to wherever you are.
And then they're on the outside of the building. Such as in the Orlando shooting, the police are on the outside, the shooter is inside with a bunch of unarmed targets. The only way to deal with that is to get SWAT teams and things like that, which institutes further delays into the process and just allows more people to be murdered.
Right.
So the solution is to arm yourself. This is the call to freedom.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you would prefer clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm. And you can actually join in on the conversation there, which is always ongoing about something. But we're joined now via telephone by, sorry about that. I don't know what that was, but please don't make that noise again. By Messenger of Truth, who says he has a bone to pick with me.
There's That's right, boy. This here's a messenger of truth, and I want to tell you and your co-host one thing. All this libertarianism is garbage, and I'm calling you out right now, boy.
Oh, what's wrong with my pastafarianism?
No, the libertarianism.
Oh, real fun of there. You want to talk about that low IQ
What do you got against the flying spaghetti monster?
I'm talking about standing up for white Jesus and white nationalism, and I'm tired of you nasty rainbow bastards taking over the natural order.
What is so natural about?
Yeah, you realize that there are plenty of examples of homosexuality and even transsexualism in nature, correct?
No, there ain't. First of all, homosexuality is an aberration. However, it does occur somewhat in the animal kingdom, in the lower animal species. I'll give you that there, boy. But I will not give you transgenderism, boy. It is a perversion from Satan. And Mark 9:40-44 is very clear, Aria, or whatever your real name is, probably Arnold. But it's very clear it's saying that better you cut off your right hand if it causes you to sin, lest you be cast into the fire where the worm does not die and the flames are not quenched. So what do you both have to say to that?
I have to say, God made humanity in his image.
Well, here's an article from the telegraph.co.uk about there have actually been fish that were filmed changing sex. Of course, it's common among amphibians as well, particularly frogs. So transsexualism, transgenderism, it certainly exists in nature.
That's for the frogs, boy.
Well, so gay frogs are real.
What if I identify as a frog?
I don't care if you does, because you know what? You're from Mississippi. I'm from Abilene, Texas. Let me tell you something right now there, Aria or Mario or whatever, and Michael can't get into the Hampton. Let me tell you something right now. You defend these Muslim scum. You ever seen Sahih Bukhari, Volume 5, Book 58, 234, where Aisha, the bride of that piece of camel feces, Muhammad, was 69 years old, boy. Pedophiles in the Muslim mosque. I'm glad 50 are dead. Seek Heil, Brett and Terrence. What do y'all got to say about that now?
No,
I gotta say, you gotta stop huffing that natural gas that's coming out of the ground out there in Texas.
I believe it is.
I'll try.
I believe it is true that Aisha was 9 years old at the time of marriage. But the consensus, even among people who are not Muslims, was that the marriage was not consummated until many years later. But that aside, sure, okay, even if we say that Muhammad was a pedophile, I'm not saying that. I'm not agreeing to that. But even if we stipulate that for the argument, you realize that Christianity is like literally replete with pedophilia.
How so? Name one inference there, red-haired, confused drag queen boy. Name one.
Do you not follow the news?
What news, boy?
The news about the Catholic priests banging their altar boys.
Well, they's the Catholicus, they's the synagogue of Satan, like the hook noses of the Bible references. I am a Bible-believing, born-again, white Christian identity man.
Okay, it also happens in the Baptist Church and in the Methodist Church.
Yeah, well, it ain't biblical, boy, and I'm sorry to yell at you. But 1 Corinthians 6:9-14, before I get off the phone here, says that neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor revilers, nor homosexuals, nor sodomites, nor covetous shall inherit the kingdom of God. Therefore,
I don't want.
all y'all there.
I don't want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want the kingdom of God, man.
What do you want? Hellfire? What you want, boy?
Yeah, hellfire would be good. I will dance.
Oh, you think it's good?
I will dance in that hellfire, messenger of truth.
And the white race is under attack, you bastards. But you sit here and you say F-A-G, but you don't say N-I-G. They're all scum. All right, now I'm going to get off the phone here, but I want to tell you, your support of the LGBT. Oh, Michael and Aria, they're so gender fluid. They're so gender. Oh, who they love. They gonna burn in hell. I have burning crosses and lynchings and sick Heil for the mighty Ku Klux Klan.
All right, I'll see you in hell, messenger of truth. Thanks for the call.
Indeed. He didn't really seem to have a bone to pick with me as much as he did the bone to pick with people who are not me.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going. I don't know what he was going on about me about.
Well, you're not a straight cis white male.
Yeah,
so,
how'd I get to be gender fluid? That's kind of a surprise.
I don't know.
I didn't expect that to happen today.
For someone who calls himself Messenger of Truth, there was certainly a lot of BS in that, obviously. Of course, if you would like to challenge the Messenger of Truth, that number is 603-283-6160. I don't think there was really a lot there worth addressing. I mean, he's got the Bible on his side, you know? He actually does.
I mean, you can make the Bible say just about anything you want by quoting little bits of it.
Yeah, but there's no pro-homosexuality part of the Bible.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there.
I mean, especially not once Paul co-opted Christianity for his own moral purposes and his own philosophical designs.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and that's been one of the most warped aspects of Christianity, I think, is that Paul was not, he was not supposed to inherit the church.
Now, wasn't he the one that basically took the whole thing and started the Catholic Church?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the first pope, but it was Peter who was supposed to fulfill this role. And we don't seem to know what became of Peter, but he certainly was not the rock upon which the church was built. Because Paul was like, nah, I got this, bruh. And started writing down his own BS and his own interpretations.
No, I'm taking this.
It's like, what Jesus meant to say was this other thing. People on Twitch seem to think that was supposed to be an Alex Jones impression.
I don't know what he was an impression of, but...
It was not an Alex Jones impression. Alex Jones has not called the show in a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, then no. You know if it was Alex Jones, because it would sound like Alex Jones.
Yeah, it would sound exactly like Alex Jones, and he would say things exactly like Alex Jones. Interestingly enough, but to get back into the story about panic gun buying. We'll get back to that in just a moment, because there's a lot more to go over about one's right to defend themselves against the state, especially in light of the actual firepower possessed by the state. And we're going to get into that. This is the Call to Freedom, so don't go anywhere.
Free Talk Live.
It hasn't been unheard of for the police to insert an instigator. These are things they do, believe it or not. They'll have a plainclothes officer go into the protest and act as though he's one of the protesters, and then the plainclothes officer will start something with another one of the police.
Oh, come on. This sounds like a conspiracy theory now.
This is not a conspiracy theory. These are confirmed occurrences. Let's give the cops a benefit of the doubt and say it really was some instigator starting stuff with the cops. Does that mean that it's appropriate to flush every single person out of the park with rubber bullets, tear gas, and other sorts of offensive devices?
Doesn't seem like it to me.
Wouldn't it make more sense to stop the person who's instigating, to, put a stop to those specific individuals?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom broadcast, as always, from the Liberty Radio studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. And the Rational Review News Digest, which you can find at rationalreview.com, is the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, blogs, and news articles in an hour source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out at rationalreview.com to stay up to date on all of the happenings in the wider world. Speaking of the wider world, back to New Zealand, firearms owners posted online about panic buying, where people were rushing to stores to purchase firearms following the Prime Minister's comments about plans to tighten gun laws. On the Facebook group, for example, a Kiwi gun blog, firearms owners and sellers said there were heightened buying of semi-automatic weapons, ammunition, and magazines around the country on Saturday.
I believe it. You know, this happens everywhere there's a mass shooting, and then people still actually have some sort of right to or ability to purchase firearms.
Meanwhile, an Auckland gun shop owner recorded a significant increase in sales of semi-automatic weapons, and the phone rang off the hook with inquiries about semi-automatics, including the prices and how much stock the store had left.
Come on in and get it while we still got it.
Yep. I understand the concept of calling a store before you go there. I mean, especially if you have reason to believe that something is going to be in very high demand.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, questions are being asked of how the man responsible for the terror attack came to hold a New Zealand gun license and gain access to illegally modified weapons. Self-described white supremacist Brenton Harrison Tarrant attacked with illegally modified weapons. Now, he's self-described as a lot of things. He's self-described.
He's self-described as everything under the sun.
Yeah, he's self-described as a sniper and a former Marine with over 300 kills under his belt.
Which is obviously bogus, but...
It's within that context that I take his proclamations of being a white supremacist. It's like, okay, sure, he also said this other crap that we know to be absolutely false. But police and gun experts believe that Tarrant, who held a basic New Zealand gun license, probably illegally purchased the guns themselves. Good God. What did they use Google Translate for this?
Yeah, they probably did. Translated it from Kiwi to English or something.
Tarrant has been charged with 1 count of murder. What? How do you get only 1 count of murder for shooting 49 people and killing them?
Oh, well, maybe they just haven't done the paperwork yet.
2 other people have been arrested in relation to the attacks, but after shooting a semi-automatic
that's one
weapon...
thing that really bothers me is there were 3 people involved in these attacks, but we only hear about this one guy. What happened to the other 2? What was their involvement?
Well, we have not been told yet. After shooting a semi-automatic weapon at the mosque on Deans Avenue, where 41 people died, police say that he drove to Linwood Avenue Mosque, where a further 7 people were killed. 1 person later died in a hospital with dozens more injured. Now, what they neglected to mention there, and what a lot of the media has neglected to mention there, is the fact that the reason the death toll is so much lower at the second mosque is in fact because there was an armed person there who shot back at Tarrant. When Tarrant was apprehended by police, he had 2 weapons in the car and an explosive device, and a further explosive device was found inside the mosque. He was in possession of 5 firearms in total. But the fact that he was able to access those types of weapons shows New Zealand's laws were not fit for purpose, and they would change, Ardern said on Saturday morning.
And she's the Prime Minister who used to be a DJ.
Yeah, and ideally, the Prime Minister doesn't actually legislate, one would hope.
Yeah, well, I think they have some kind of parliament down there.
Yeah, one would certainly hope that they do. They may not necessarily have one, but one never knows. Well, I mean, obviously they have one, but they may not have it set up so that, the branches of government are actually distinct, as they're supposed to be here in the United States, but as they also are not. A gun expert told Newsroom, oh boy, this is probably going to be good. The shotgun used by Tarrant at the Deans Avenue Mosque appeared to be a Mossberg 930 semi-automatic. This gun has a magazine capacity of 7 rounds, and once he ran out of ammunition, he appeared to dump it and switch to an AR-15. The AR-15 is a semi-automatic sporting rifle and among the most popular firearms currently sold.
Yeah, it's like literally, if you own a rifle, it's probably an AR-15.
Yeah, and it's largely because of the Washington Post that is true, with their idiotic attachment meme.
Well, the AR-15 has been really popular even before that.
Sure. The expert told newsrooms they were today's sporting rifle. They were often used for deer, goat, and pig hunting and competitive target shooting, according to online gun sites. Both types of guns could be purchased by someone holding a regular Category A license without any special endorsements. Guns that can be legally purchased and used by someone with a Category A license have to be deemed by police to be non-military, not have a collapsible or folding stock, not have bayonets, lugs, a freestanding pistol grip, or a flash hider. Category A permits ownership of basic bolt, lever, and similar action rifles and shotguns, and some semi-automatic guns, which are not deemed to be military style. So basically, if it looks scary, then you're not allowed to have it.
If it looks scary, you can't have it.
And we have that here in the United States with the assault weapon hysteria.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It ultimately just means that the gun looks scary to people.
Yeah, it's all cosmetic.
While the main body of the guns Tarrant had could be legally acquired with a basic Category A license, the AR-15 had been fitted illegally with large magazines, the expert said. Under the 1992 Arms Act, a semi-automatic AR-15 sporting rifle can only have a magazine capacity of 7 rounds. Tarrant had a magazine holding 30 rounds, 40 rounds, and 60 rounds.
No, wait just a minute. So New Zealand, which is literally an island nation, you can only have 7-round magazines in your AR-15. How did this guy get 30, 40, 60-round magazine? Where'd they come from? How did they get into the country? What?
Yeah.
How can a law stop this?
Yeah, how did this even happen? They made it illegal, therefore it didn't happen.
Yeah. The law should have stopped this, but laws don't stop this. The new law won't stop this from happening again.
It is understood that part of the equipment used in the attack was likely purchased from a local gun dealer. While Ardern said that Tarrant legally held 5 firearms, Police Commissioner Mike Bush confirmed a Category A firearm license holder could purchase the guns without magazines or the things that will enable them to be in the state that they were. What? Bush said Tarrant would not have been able to legally buy the guns in the state they were in when he launched the attack.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to buy 30, 40, 60-round mags. But nobody's selling those.
It's not the mags. It's the guns. He wouldn't have been able to buy the guns.
Oh, did he do something else with the guns? I didn't see that.
He bought them. I mean, I literally just read it, Michael.
No. It said he would be able to buy the guns, but not with the magazines.
He would be able to buy the guns, but not in the state they were in when he launched the attack.
Because he had the 30, 40-round magazines in there.
No. It's like the difference between Mississippi and, like California. I mean, it literally says, Bush said Tarrant would not have been able to legally buy the guns in the state they were in when he launched the attack. So New Zealand has states, just like the United States, and those states have different regulations.
Not that state. In the configuration is what they mean. Not New Zealand doesn't have states.
Okay.
Not that way.
Okay. So that was okay.
The other definition of state.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the correction. That was confusing.
That was.
But I do think the article was passed through Google Translate, and I think that was probably a lot of the source of the confusion.
Translated from English to English?
Yeah. Well, translated from something into English. This is the Call to Freedom. We'll be back in a moment.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help. PorcupineRealEstate.com. Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm. Oh,
All right, welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And maybe you want to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them. Bust people for drugs and then sell them on the side for a nice little bonus. If you've ever wanted to enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which you can find at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." So go get it now. You can find it at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included, but for a limited time, you can use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. Speaking of police, they were asked repeatedly how Tarrant managed to obtain a New Zealand gun license in the first place.
He probably just went and applied for it like anyone else.
In order to acquire a gun license in New Zealand, a person has to be over 16, pass a background check, and have 2 referees, including a next of kin or spouse. Bush said that Tarrant had no criminal history and was not known to police in New Zealand or Australia. He was not on any police or terrorist watch lists.
Well, that's how you do it. You just not be on any you just not have a criminal record, not be a terrorist, known terrorist, and have somebody vouch for you, and there you are.
And even that doesn't really matter, I would say, because the Orlando shooter was investigated by the FBI on, I think it was 7 occasions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seriously dropped the ball on that one.
I don't agree. He never did anything that warranted him not having the right to own firearms.
Okay.
They investigated him. They found no evidence that he was a threat, and they let him be.
All right.
And then they did it 6 more times. And a lot of people asked after that, why was this guy who was investigated by the FBI allowed to get a firearm? And,
because they didn't find anything?
Yeah, that sort of hysteria that if you ever get investigated by the FBI, you must therefore be a criminal is called,
I've got news
it's called
for
a
you.
witch hunt. It's called guilty by accusation.
Yeah, I've got news for you. If you're listening to this, you're going to get investigated by the FBI at some point in your life. I guarantee it.
Yeah, if you're
you may not know about it, but it will happen.
If you're listening to us, chances are you're already under investigation by the FBI. We know we are. Because it's been leaked to us. But he said generally the process included checking whether the person had a criminal history, checking with their referees, and we most likely do a home visit. That is insane. To buy a
gun, yeah.
Yeah, to get licensed to buy a gun, they do a home visit. A group that considers themselves responsible gun owners said gun owners like them would see the police as under scrutiny for not thoroughly checking or vetting Tarrant and the people who were his referees. Again, just because he did something bad last week doesn't mean there was ever any indication that he was about to just flip out and murder a bunch of people.
A year ago, right.
Yeah, and we saw that in the Vegas shooting as well. There was no indication that this guy was about to just totally go nuts and fire into a crowd.
And as far as I know, the report on him was that they still don't exactly know why he did it.
They don't. They claim not to. They confiscated his laptop and some other things. And like, we don't know.
We don't know. We'll never know.
We don't know why this guy, this liberal guy who I think, if I remember correctly, categorized himself as a communist, took out a bunch of guns in this hotel room and fired into a crowd of country fans. We just don't understand it.
Yeah, I can't imagine why someone would have done that.
Tarrant was also a member of the Bruce Rifle Club. He joined in early 2018. Its president, Scott Williams, told Newsroom that the club obviously scrutinized its members, but in relation to the basic rules of the firearms code and how they handled firearms and followed the club's rules. We don't scrutinize them to assess if they're white supremacist nationalists, because as far as we knew, we didn't have those types in New Zealand. I would say you still don't.
Yeah,
and that this guy was no more a white supremacist than I am. Not a metaphor I particularly wanted to make, but I think that's probably true. I have a really hard time accepting the word of a psychopath who kills 50 people as being,
True.
reliable.
Reliable. Yeah.
And when this murderer has a manifesto wherein he literally copies and posts memes and lies about his own identity, I find it even harder to take his claims seriously. If they're not going to take the claim seriously that he was a sniper with over 300 kills under his hat or whatever, why are they going to take the one about white nationalism seriously?
Because that's what they want to believe.
It's like one of those school shootings or whatever it was, I don't remember, where the guy had like 4 emblems on his vest. And one of them was an Iron Cross. And they go, oh, he was therefore a white supremacist. But they're ignoring the other 3 emblems, none of which had anything to do with white supremacy, and all of which were death metal related, as was the Iron Cross and the reason that he had it. And he made that, pretty clear. I don't remember all of the details about it, but I do remember the media fixating on the Iron Cross and saying, oh, he was clearly a white supremacist.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember something about that.
Let's ignore all of this other information and just focus on that, because it allows us to demonize this particular subset of people who are realistically very little of a threat to anyone. Tarrant grew up in Australia and worked at a gym after high school. He claims to have made money in trading Bitcoin and used that money and reportedly an inheritance to travel. He visited Pakistan, North Korea, and had traveled to Bulgaria and other parts of Eastern Europe in recent years. Those are strange travel choices for a white nationalist.
Those are extremely strange travel choices for a white nationalist.
I'm a white nationalist, so I'm going to go to Pakistan. Bulgarian journalist Ivo Maev said Serbian authorities confirmed Tarrant had traveled to Bulgaria in November of last year and visited other Balkan countries. His first visit to the region was in 2016. Now, those would be the kind of places I would expect a white supremacist to visit if they weren't going to visit, Germany. But North Korea is certainly not a place I would expect a white nationalist to visit.
Yeah, that is a little strange.
It is extremely strange.
It might be a good place to visit if you're a communist, fascist, white nationalist sort of thing, and you want to study this authoritarian hellhole.
The guns carried references to historical battles of the Bulgarian and Serbian people against the Ottoman Empire. Using white paint, Tarrant covered his weapons in references to the Shipka battle in Bulgaria in 1877 and Battle of Belair in 1913. Following an official meeting of heads of the security services in Sofia, Bulgarian Chief Prosecutor Sasarov said Tarrant arrived in the country from Dubai, India, another strange place for a white nationalist to visit, and went on to visit a number of cities in Bulgaria before renting a car and traveling to Hungary. Sasarov and Interior Minister Marinov said Bulgaria would continue to investigate, but that there was no evidence he had links to any terror groups. Tarrant is a self-proclaimed nationalist who publicized a manifesto on social media prior to the attack. He singled out issues of immigration and reiterated extreme white supremacist views. Mortified Penguin insists that he was definitely a fascist white nationalist. I would agree he was definitely a fascist because that kind of aggressive behavior, that kind of violence, it's endemic to fascism. And you can't be a fascist without being extremely violent. And if you are extremely violent, you're a fascist. But that doesn't necessarily mean he was a white nationalist. He said he was. I'm not saying that, you know? But he said a lot of crap, basically.
Yeah, he said a whole lot of crap, and the intention of his saying a whole lot of crap seems to be to confuse and mislead people about his purpose.
Yes. I think that, you know, he was real life crap posting, to be 100% honest.
Could be.
That he had just become so absorbed in the meme culture, in the alt-right meme culture on 4chan, where, you know, people say horrifically stupid things on, you know, /poll. I think that he just got too absorbed in that, and whether or not he believed it to be real or whether or not he believed it to be fake is sort of immaterial. To him, it was just a meme that had gotten into his head and that he felt he needed to act out. But they're asking questions about New Zealand security and intelligence agencies to see why he was not on the radar of any authorities. The investigation into how Tarrant went undetected is still underway. Well,
don't read 4chan?
This is the Call to Freedom, and we're going to move on to other subjects, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we're going to get into those in just a moment.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,317, silver at $15.53, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,972. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at noscale.net. In the news, a Las Vegas police officer took videos with her cell phone as she forced a mentally ill man to dance for her, taunting a man as a fellow cop force-fed him gummy bears, recorded herself demanding to see a handcuffed man's genitalia, and used every racial slur under the sun. The Free Thought Project reports the conduct was so egregious, Officer Rachel Sorkow was arrested this month on multiple charges. The deranged and cruel officer would eventually get exposed for her sick actions after she'd proudly share the footage with friends, fellow cops, and family. To Officer Sorkow, humiliating innocent mentally ill people while hurling racial slurs was entertainment fit for the whole family. Not only was Sorkow involved in a sick racist power trip, but the public servant was also pimping out her department's background check capabilities and doing favors for criminals by looking up their status in the system. Sorkow's sick acts of racism and forced humiliation would have likely been overlooked and dismissed had she not been caught using the background check system. She was caught abusing the system on at least 19 different occasions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. Israel's three largest banks have all been ordered to pay record fines, which collectively are set to total over $1 billion to the U.S. government, after the banks were found to have actively colluded with thousands of wealthy Americans in massive tax evasion schemes. Mid-press news reports the scandal has been reported widely in Israel, but has garnered little attention in the United States. The media blackout has been so surprising it was even directly mentioned by the Times of Israel, given that similar revelations about other banks and offshore tax evasion schemes, such as those contained within the Panama Papers, led to global protests and even the resignations of some world leaders. The settlements are the end result of a series of Department of Justice probes that were related to the DOJ's 2007 investigation targeting UBS AG, Switzerland's largest bank. The focus of the probe turned to Israel a few years later in 2011, when it was determined that the Swiss subsidiaries of several of Israel's largest banks had actively aided Americans seeking to launder their money. If the black smoke over the Paris skyline and charred cars and buildings, which have become characteristic of France's increasingly violent yellow vest protests over the past months, weren't alarming enough, things look to get much worse as the government prepares to escalate. The anti-media reports that in an effort to clamp down on the unraveling security situation, which has lately seen banks and residential buildings torched and luxury stores and restaurants vandalized and destroyed, the French authorities have announced the deployment of anti-terrorism military forces in order to protect and secure public buildings. Following the worsening protest situation of the past weekend, which nearly turned deadly for random civilians caught up in the mayhem of rioters clashing with police, the government will redirect counter-terror troops from Operation Sentinel to focus on Yellow Vest-related threats. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
An alarming new study finds that people suffering from stress-related disorders react poorly to being trapped in underwater elevators. A tired 398-month-old throws a tantrum, and a little clay thing is purchased at an arts festival. And now an eerily perfect recap of this week's news. The Catholic Church reversed its long-held stance against gay marriage this week, after meeting Connecticut couple Tony and Craig. The vacationing pair dazzled the Pope and assorted clergy with their witty conversation and true loving affection for each other, leading Vatican officials to conclude that love is love and it's silly to put restrictions on it in this day and age. The Chinese people announced that they would be willing to forgive most of the United States' $1.16 trillion debt if Americans agreed to dress up in costumes and perform silly dances for them. Chinese officials encouraged U.S. citizens to wear sequined vests and prance around while slapping their big fat American tummies, promising that the more humiliating the performance, the more debt will be erased. In sports, NASCAR fans are deeply puzzled by a mysterious black family seen attending multiple races.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, I am your host, Aria DiMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com, and I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And as promised prior to the break, we're going to move on from the, well, I would like to move on from the New Zealand shooting. So I brought up this article about the soft totalitarianism of social media corporations and how Reason thinks we can fight them with government of all things. And instead, the first freaking sentence is about the shooting in Christchurch.
I suspect it's going to be hard to avoid it for a while.
Yeah, that's true. But good Lord, come on, guys. Within hours of the massacre at 2 mosques in Christchurch, that country's government called on people to refrain from sharing the killer's manifesto and the video he'd taken of his crimes in progress. Not only did they request that of their people, but it is already illegal in New Zealand to share such things.
Yeah, they're not just requesting, they are requesting at gunpoint. They have already arrested 2 people and taken them in and thrown them in cages.
Yeah, they didn't just ask, they demanded that the offending material be suppressed by social media companies and online publishers under penalty of laws that wouldn't apply beyond the island nation. Now, who do they think they are? America?
Yeah, they think they're the U.S. suddenly.
The desire to avoid promoting a mass murderer's ideas and actions is certainly understandable. But the wisdom of removing them from public observation and discussion isn't by any means a given. Now, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who think that these ideas should just simply be swept under the rug and deplatformed and just never talked about. And I disagree. That's why I do things like debate Nazis. Because I don't think that, it's like somebody said on Free Talk Live, if you argue this idea that, these ideas are so bad that they're not even debatable, okay, but how do you know they're that bad if you don't actually debate them? If you don't reveal them to be bad, how do you expect people to know that they're bad?
Well, you take our word for it.
Yeah, that's what they want you to do, and I'm not willing to do that. I don't think anyone should be willing to do that.
But it's for your own good.
No, it's not. It's for the good of the person who wants you to just take their word for it. The eagerness with which most of the online giants complied with their government censorship demands raises serious concerns about the prospects for the free exchange of ideas. Now, I think that's a really loaded way of looking at it. Videos of mass shootings and hate speech have long since been banned from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and these other social media sites.
Exactly.
So when they have a clear-cut example of murder and hate speech, they are going to act quickly to remove it.
Yeah.
I don't think that the government...
They're not even waiting for the government to come in and say, take this down. They're already doing it.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that the government of New Zealand's demands had any impact on it whatsoever. But Reason disagrees. The dangers of that sort of soft totalitarianism emphasize the importance of developing and promoting alternative platforms which are committed to free speech and resistant to collaboration with government officials.
Now, that much I'll agree with, because we actually do need platforms where free speech means something.
Yeah, I guess. But more interesting to me is the repeated usage of the phrase "soft totalitarianism."
Well, what they're
which
doing
to me, no, it's a freaking marketing trend, just like the Great Replacement. They're trying to make this hysteria memeable so that it spreads more easily, so that people are more up in arms. They're reacting more emotionally to the word totalitarianism, and the white extinction and things of that nature than they are to the actual facts. It's our view that the murderer's video should not be distributed, able to be viewed, New Zealand Prime Minister told reporters amidst concerns that the graphic footage would harm viewers. You can't have something so graphic available and it not harm viewers. That is why it is so important that it is prioritized, that it is removed. To achieve that goal, New Zealand's chief censor formally banned the video, imposing fines of up to $10,000 and up to 14 years in prison on anybody sharing it, and demanding the names of anybody, apparently including those living in less censorship-prone jurisdictions, who had already done so. Officials also moved to involve the Five Eyes intelligence sharing network, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and of course, the United States, in monitoring and controlling social media.
That one's scary because you start taking the Five Eyes thing is like, this is all five of this is the NSA, the US NSA, the GCHQ, the DSD in Australia, or whatever they renamed it a couple years ago, the one in Canada and the one in New Zealand, whose names it's all of those signals intelligence services have this platform that they share.
Yeah, I mean that's not exactly new or unusual.
You're doing this for a video.
I mean, yeah, but it's not new, and it's certainly not unusual. Intelligence services have been sharing information going back since the dawn of intelligence services.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't say whether the Five Eyes intelligence sharing network actually participated in this. It just says that the New Zealand government asked them to. Even before the legal penalties were in place, big tech companies stumbled over themselves to comply. Yes, because it was a violation of their terms and services for this content to be hosted on their platforms. Facebook reported that it had deleted or blocked 1.5 million copies of the video, and it failed attempts to link to the hate-filled manifesto. Twitter and YouTube did the same, and document services including Document Cloud and Scribd worked to delete the 74-page screed. I bet they're on the Pirate Bay, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they are. That reminds me I need to go find that video this weekend, because it was a horrible thing, but some of us actually do need access to that sort of thing for news reporting purposes.
I don't think I need access to that video. I don't.
You probably don't.
I don't mind that it's available to people who want to watch it, but personally, I don't need access to it. The tech giants alternatively won praise for moving quickly to suppress speech and criticism for moving fast and thoroughly, and for not moving fast and thoroughly enough.
Yeah, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. There, you're moving as fast as you can, and they'll go faster, crack the whip. And
I don't agree with Reason's interpretation of this entire thing. I don't believe this is an issue of speech suppression any more than any other example, any more than it is when I get banned from Facebook for saying the word fag. That's speech suppression, sure, but it's suppressed because it's a violation of their terms and services. And if I keep saying it here on Twitch, I'm going to get us banned from Twitch. So I have to stop that. As the tech giants made their move in collaboration with the New Zealand government, which is false. It's freaking false. And they just said that was false. They said explicitly that these social media companies were acting to suppress the video before New Zealand asked them to. And then they go, but they made their move in collaboration with you freaking hysterical lunatics. Stop peddling this nonsense and stick to the facts. I don't care about your hysteria about soft totalitarianism. That's ridiculous. And how are you going to lay this at the feet of tech giants and governments simultaneously while putting forward the idea that governments can somehow help us with this problem?
Did we get to that part yet? Because I don't...
Not yet, because there's so much wrong with the assumptions that they're making in the first place that it's hard to dig through this nonsense to get through that. To get through what we already know to be a nonsense proposal. Many of them had vile motivations. It's hard to come up with a good way to characterize turning the video into a simulation of a first-person shooter game. But vile people have free speech rights too, and we need to respect them, lest the definition of vile become a weapon itself. That's the first sensible thing they've said in this entire article.
That part at least makes sense.
And we're going to get back into deconstructing this article from reason and why they seem to be beating that hysteria drum pretty hard on the call to freedom, so don't go anywhere.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom. You're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you would prefer clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm. And you can join in on the conversation there, although it actually seems that Twitch is where you would want to go at the moment, which you can find at twitch.lrn.fm. That's where most of the people are actually listening to our show right now anyway. But that seems to be where most of the conversation is actually happening right now. So getting back to this recent article, writing at Medium, moved forward a bit too much. There are also constructive reasons for sharing and analyzing a terrorist's motivations and actions. By doing so, you can determine which toxic ideas may motivate violence, get an idea of where threats may come from in the future, and tear those ideas apart in public view.
And that's exactly what you just said. You need to take these ideas and debate them.
Absolutely. I would disagree with the first assessment that any of these toxic ideas can motivate violence. I think a person has to be already violent, and then they seize upon one of these ideologies as an excuse to exercise that violent tendency.
Okay, so they're just using it. So people like that are just using these ideas as a rationalization for doing what they were going to do anyway.
Right. In the same way that ISIS uses Islam as, the motivation. Yeah, the excuse, that's a better word for it, for what they intend to do. And it's a working mechanism. Hitler notoriously exploited nationalism, and he was a nationalist himself, but he exploited those feelings among people in order to get them to go along with things that he was going to do anyway.
Right.
So it's a common tactic, and it works. But writing at Medium, James Piron pointed out that the manifesto's author combines environmentalism, racism, and authoritarianism into one repulsive package, and hates capitalism, free markets, and free trade, but he loves the communist Chinese government and fascism.
No surprise there.
No, this poor sap was confused. Or he wrote his manifesto in a way such as to be as confusing as possible. I would argue it was most likely that, although his visits to North Korea and to Pakistan certainly both paint the image that he was, in fact, a totalitarianism, or he loved authoritarianism.
Yeah, it's starting to sound a little more like he might actually be a totalitarian.
But he stated explicitly in the manifesto that his goal was to cause people to be terrified of Muslims, right? That was one of the first things people covered.
But of course, that manifesto is so full of garbage that how can you be sure?
Well, that's exactly it. But that has also been swept under the rug. Nobody's talking about it now. They're just fixating on the white nationalism thing. So, which is it? Obviously, the two goals are not mutually exclusive, and that the white nationalism could be the reason why he wanted people to be afraid of Muslims in the first place.
No, it's the media, and they're going to spin this the way they want to spin it. And reality, well, we have to figure that out for ourselves.
But once again, if he wanted people to be afraid of Muslims, he would have put on a hijab or something, or whatever the men wear, and he would have gone and targeted an actual church rather than a mosque.
Yeah, he would have made it look like a Muslim had carried out an attack.
Prominent early 20th century writer and advisor to the powerful Madison Grant expressed similar ideas, according to Jeffrey Tucker at the American Institution for Economic Research. Good Lord, did they name drop enough people in that sentence? Men with the same views, much more sophisticated in expression but just as violent in aim, once came from the Ivy League, occupied the highest levels of social and professional achievement right here in the United States, and remained heroes of progressivism for many decades after the Second World War.
There you are.
There were so many name drops in there, I'm not even sure who was supposed to be speaking.
Jeffrey Tucker was speaking.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the history of progressivism. That's where it came from. Those are progressive ideas.
The murderer was also a product of our craps and giggles, but high stakes age. Good God, yeah, I had to replace a word in that, obviously, but it still doesn't make sense, no matter how you read it. Our high-stakes age, but our age is one that is also craps and giggles. I don't know. I think he's referring to, troll culture.
That could be.
Parts of the document are obvious put-ons, Jesse Walker wrote for Reason, even as the blood in Christchurch reminds us that the killer wasn't kidding about his lethal intentions.
Yeah, he obviously wanted people dead.
Parts are indeed obvious put-ons. Others are not so obvious. The question that people have to ask, and the reason the manifesto should certainly be available, is so that people can ask that question and find the answer to it. Analyzing the document reminds us that New Zealand currently has an anti-capitalist prime minister in coalition with a populist, nationalist, anti-immigration party headed by Winston Peters.
Those are kind of some of the philosophies, ideologies espoused by the shooter.
The coalition government has the support of the Green Party.
Again.
This coalition is by no means murderous. Yes, it is. It literally is, because that's what the state is.
No more than any other government anyway.
Nor does it embrace the murderer's white supremacism.
You sure?
But all too many of the Christchurch killer's authoritarian ideas are not as far removed from the mainstream as we might wish. So what of the video? What possible good use can come from watching people slaughtered? That's a harder case to make, no doubt. But we should remember that awareness of the brutal reality of war soared largely as a result of thorough documentation of violent conflicts, and that experience may offer us lessons for dealing with terrorist acts. Now, is he suggesting that we're at war with who?
No, I don't think he's suggesting that we're at war.
He literally did, though.
What I think he's after is comparing it to war, because what happened is, in the last 50 years, they started televising wars.
Yeah.
They put them on television. You could watch people getting killed in Vietnam and Iraq. It was right there on CNN.
Yeah, but it didn't really seem to bother people, unless it was Americans that were being killed.
No, it bothered enough people that an anti-war movement arose.
True. The Vietnam War was the most visually represented war in history, existing to a great degree as a moving image, wrote Michael Anderig, who has a dangerous addiction to commas. Certainly, the war became a television event, a tragic serial drama stretched over thousands of nights in the American consciousness. Video records of violent incidents of police brutality have also been effective tools in publicizing misconduct, fueling protest, and motivating change. Okay, so I can't argue with that, That sort of outrage, it does appeal to people's emotions, and it does work as a catalyst for change. As you were saying, it did lead to the anti-war movement and
anti-police brutality movements.
Yeah. But I'm not sure what anti-anything the spread of this video can actually achieve. People are already against white nationalism, and that's what it's being marketed as.
It might make people who are kind of on the fence, leaning toward white nationalism, move the other way when they see that it's actually a horrible thing.
Could video of a terrorist act bring home the human cost of violence to the people who see it? It's a question worth considering, whether government officials or tech company exclusives like it or not. And this is the Call to Freedom, and we're going to answer that question, or we're going to attempt to. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you a helpless moron perplexed by the world? Wish there was a device that enabled you to consult the Onion Book of Known Knowledge anytime, anywhere? Then you need the Book Bjorn, the amazing new wearable invention that makes you and the Onion Book of Known Knowledge inseparable. Never again be stumped by the panoply of bizarre objects filling your field of vision. Never take it off. Never be without it. All this for just 4 easy payments of $39.93. The Book Bjorn. The Book Bjorn. And if you call now, you'll receive the special page-turning wand. Turn pages with the greatest of ease. The special reading light to wrench knowledge from utter darkness. The book umbrella to protect the Onion Book of Known Knowledge's precious pages from the elements. Book Bjorn. This $800 value can be yours today. Send a check or money order to the Book Bjorn, care of the Zwiebel Center for Knowledge Studies, 15 Zwiebel Way, Macau, China. Do not hesitate. Buy now. The Book Bjorn.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, broadcast as always from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire. And we would like to invite you to check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook by using @TheCallToFreedom. You can find us on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN. You can find us on Mastodon by using @CallToFreedom. And lastly, you can find us on Patreon by using patreon.com/CallToFreedom. And soon, I'm making a note to do it right now, I'm going to make us a Gab. Profile,
whatever they call it.
Thank you. It's hard to write and talk at the same time, I've learned.
Yeah,
it's never something I've attempted to do until...
I don't know how anyone does it.
No, I don't either. I managed to do it earlier, writing very simple things.
Yeah, well, if you're just reading text off the screen, I guess it may not be quite as difficult. But
I don't recall what I was doing at the time. I just remember I was talking and writing. But so, yeah, I'm going to make us a Call to Freedom Gab. Just, for the lulz, really, because it is a hotbed of white supremacists. And it is a freedom of speech platform where the only thing that seems to get you banned is literally advocating for violence against political opponents. Which,
okay,
may or may not qualify as free speech, really. You are kind of making threats there, dude.
That's true.
And, on that subject, when I was on Radical Agenda, I couldn't help but notice that Chris Cantwell owns a large number of guns. Who doesn't, right? Especially as a former libertarian before he,
Yeah, if you're
took
a
a bunch of
libertarian,
meth
you
and
own
lost
a
his
gun.
mind. But he's got an AR-15 sitting there and things like that. Is he not a convicted felon?
What he got in Virginia, I think, was a misdemeanor.
Well, that would be it then. But getting back to this BS article from Reason that is attempting to make you so terrified of these social media corporations that you will bend your knees to the state. This is why moves by New Zealand's government to ignore individual rights, bypass discussion, and head straight to censorship are so disturbing. Worse is the inclination of tech executives to submit without protest. And again, coming from the same article was the admittance that tech companies were already suppressing this video before the New Zealand government asked them to.
Oh, yeah, that they were.
So it's not that they submitted without protest, it's that they were already doing it.
Well, they were going to do it anyway because they knew that the government was going to come and ask them to do it. So I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if that's it. I think that they became hostile toward hate speech and things like that because it's the good thing to do,
It's the so-called progressive thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Exacerbating the threat is a new generation of technological tools under development that will make past efforts to spread propaganda and quash dissent look primitive, promised Richard Fontaine and Kara Frederick of the Center for a New American Security. If the companies that once prided themselves on battling repressive regimes, remember when Facebook and Twitter facilitated communication among Arab Spring protesters?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Instead, uniformly turned to enabling control. Anyone who differs with officialdom's knee-jerk reactions to events is in for a tough ride. Again, it's good to see that they do sprinkle sensible statements within this article.
Yeah, I think he was a little I kind of think you're right about this Facebook removing the videos before being asked to is not being asked to by the government, doing that on their own. Maybe you're right, and that's where he's gone wrong here. Maybe he thought that Facebook was going to do it anyway.
Sure.
Because the government was going to ask them to.
But he's characterizing it as, this soft totalitarianism of social media, bending their knees and collaborating with government. Oh, I get it. It's realization, light bulb. It's a really poorly written headline. It doesn't mean you should use government to fight soft totalitarianism. It's saying that social media cooperation with government forms soft totalitarianism.
Right. That's what I got out of it.
Okay. It's a very badly written headline, and I did not initially get that out of it. I see why one would get that out of it, and that's what one is supposed to get out of it, clearly, but it is not what I got out of it.
Social media cooperation with government is soft totalitarianism, and you should fight it.
Yeah. That's why the smaller social media companies and independent sites that don't knuckle to New Zealand's demands are so important. Again, they didn't, and you literally wrote that. You freaking potato. Whether committed to free speech, resistant to top-down commands, driven by a need to differentiate from the big players, or themselves sympathetic to vile ideas, these alternatives ensure that we're not all compelled to speak with one voice, or act as if under the direction of a single will.
Now, I don't. Which of these smaller social media independent sites didn't? Because even LiveLeak took down the video.
Gab?
Yeah. Okay.
Mastodon.
Gab. Mastodon. Well, you couldn't do that anyway. But yeah, it.
Well, those are smaller independent.
Yeah, they are smaller independent
social media sites. So they do exist. We've been asked on Twitter what kind of libertarians we are. Hoppin' or Hoppa?
Yeah,
certainly not. Yeah. I am if I had to pick one of these notorious writers of the 20th century to characterize myself as what type of libertarian I am, I would say that I am a Rothbardian anarchist. That's not to say that all of Rothbard's ideas were good.
No.
But
not all of anyone's ideas were good.
No, I would actually characterize myself as a Nietzschean anarchist, which gets into topics that I really don't want to get into here flying off the cuff. That's something I write about. But essentially, I'm an individualist anarchist. That's the type of libertarian I am. I'm not a fan of the Libertarian Party at all. I'm not a big fan of their big tent ideas or, the takeover of libertarianism by conservatives.
Yeah, I really dislike the Libertarian Party being taken over by conservatives, alt-rightists, nationalists, misogynists, whoever. It's a mess. Everybody should be free to think or feel whatever they want, but I don't want to associate with people like that.
No, I am not a member of the Libertarian Party. I'm not even a member of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. I did, in fact, run for sheriff here in Cheshire County as a member of the Libertarian Party, but I was not officially a member at the time. I was just their candidate because,
they
nobody
didn't have another candidate.
Well, it's not just that. It's that nobody disputes my libertarian credentials. For a lot of people, having that card or whatever, it does, validate you as you're a real libertarian, or to many people. But to me, it's kind of obvious that the anarchist shemale is a hardcore libertarian.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. I signed the LP's little pledge in 1992, and then I voted for, it was Andre Maru that year, and then Harry Brown in 96, and Harry Brown again in 2000, and Michael Bednarik in 2004. And then that's kind of where the LP started losing it after 2004.
Yes, well, it was exactly the year 2006 that the LP lost it. That was the year of the Portland Massacre, when so much of the Dallas Accord was just ripped up and thrown away, when they decided that it was no longer going to be welcoming to anarchists, and that it was going to become the party of conservatives.
Yeah, and that's about when I declared to be an anarchist and moved to New Hampshire and left the LP behind.
So what kind of libertarian are you? Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
I'm just a witch, yeah. I haven't taken the time to try to find a label that fits me. I have better things to do.
Well, economically, I lean really, really far to the right, which is that I believe the free market is a manifestation of competition. And competition, of course, is an evolutionary principle that Nietzsche actually advocated as, essentially the supreme principle of existence. And he's not wrong. And I think that allowing competition to happen on every single matter with which it can happen is the way that we find out what works and what doesn't. And I think that people should be free to let that competition happen. That's the kind of libertarian I am. Okay. But we're going to get back to this recent article, so don't go anywhere.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Find out.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. I would like to remind you that our podcasts have moved. They can now be found at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. And I would highly suggest people listen to those because they are, commercial free, because they're not broadcast here on LRN.FM. And, LRN.FM is kept running by those commercials.
Right.
So go check those out. That's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, or you can use the RSS feed, which is calltofreedomlive.podbean.com/feed.xml.
And you can listen to those offline, too.
Yes.
If you're ever offline.
Yeah, you can download and listen to those as many times as you want. And we occasionally clip segments and upload them individually in a new section that we're calling Philosophical Rabbit Holes. You can also find Shemale versus Nazi there, the audio form, which is currently our most listened to episode. I mean, it wasn't an episode of Call to Freedom, but we agreed that it was fine for me to throw it on there. So I did. But we're joined now via telephone by Latka, who would like to say something positive about libertarians.
Hello, Aria. Hello, Michael. Hello, Ian. Hello, Josie, and all the libertarians and Americans. This is Latka. I want to say that, Aria, you're just a very mean American man yelling at you, calling your names. I want to tell you that there have people here that are very much for you, that know that you are good people and that you are doing good for the libertarians and the human race. Don't let these bad people get you down.
Now, where are you from?
I am from Chogohoretsova, Vista Emerina, but it is kind of near Russia, but not quite. I have an accent. If you do not notice, I'm sorry for that. I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I don't understand anything you said, though. So.
No, I say you good people. You're good people, and I am sorry that the mean, racist, hateful people call in and make fun of you, but you have many good people in many countries that are for you, Aria. That is what I say to you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always positive to hear that, we're not universally hated, because so very, very much of the crap I get online, I don't talk about it a lot, but, everybody thinks, oh, Aria, you're so strong. You put up with all this crap.
It's not easy.
No, and it does get to me, especially when I have so many other things going on, just being bombarded with comments on YouTube and Facebook about, always about being trans. That's what it's always about, even if I never bring it up. Like the meme that Dunker made about me the other day, it's just steadily being commented with people going, that's a man, that's a man. And of course, the
you noticed.
The Shemale versus Nazi video is just being commented to that constantly. I mean, commented with that kind of thing constantly. It's tedious, and it does get exhausting. So having somebody who actually says, hey, you're not a piece of crap.
It's nice to hear.
We don't all hate you is nice to hear. And of course, I already knew that, we do have supporters out there, but they're not vocal about it when this kind of thing happens because, it's just so expected that I'm going to stand up and defend myself, which I do, but it's draining. It's very much draining. And that's why I don't talk about it much, because nobody wants to listen to that mopey crap.
Yeah, that's not why we're here.
No, it's easier just to deactivate temporarily from Facebook, deal with the real world things I need to deal with, and then come back. And at that point, their stupidity will no longer have any impact on me whatsoever.
There you go.
Yep. And that's how that works. But getting back to this article from Reason, fortunately, as we discussed, alternative services and sites are available, and those of us who care about free speech and diversity of ideas should do our best to ensure their viability. Now, if you would like a relatively comprehensive listing of some of these services and platforms, you can find them on freekeen.com. That's FREEKEENE.com, where they have compiled a list of social media alternatives to Facebook. And the reason they did that...
Useful.
It is indeed. The reason they did that was because of one of my bans this year from Facebook. And they're like, we're going to write an article about this and how article bans the trans chick for anti-trans hate speech.
Which was so ridiculous that they did overturn that, right?
They did, but they didn't reinstate my account. We've been asked by someone on Twitch, how do we fight authority while submitting to a corporate authority like Twitch, which censors free speech? Well, I don't know if you noticed, but our Twitch channel did recently host a video between myself, the anarchist Shemale, and Chris Cantwell, the crying Nazi. And although it was actually hosted on my channel, which is twitch.tv/Aria DiMezzo, it was mirrored here on the LRN channel. And it got a lot of viewers. It hit #2 in the talk shows category on Twitch, which is not a small feat. It was the highest ranking thing that we've ever put on Twitch, I believe.
Yeah, pretty close to it.
And I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about why we cooperate with Twitch?
Oh, well, we don't really. I have a habit, so much of a habit of doing it that Twitch listeners have called me out on it, of dropping the word fag here on Twitch. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that I really have to stop doing that or I'm going to get the channel banned, right?
Yeah. Apparently Twitch doesn't like that word.
No,
the FCC doesn't care, but...
They don't like the word Shemale either, and I literally used that in the video. I circumvented their filters, in fact, their censorship attempts by using ASCII characters. I've done the same with YouTube. But we did have Chris Cantwell on, and he was free to say any freaking thing that he wanted to say, in whatever horrible ways he wanted to say it. That was critical to the entire show, in fact.
Yeah.
And I went into it with the expectation that my Twitch channel was going to get banned. And the video was going to get pulled from Twitch, and the live stream was going to be ended. Now, none of that happened. I also expected that because I'm trans, I would have been able to make the case that the video should be reinstated and my channel should be reinstated, and I think I probably would have won. But
probably would have won.
We did fight Twitch, so to speak, on that issue, or we pushed back against that censorship, and there were no negative connotations. You could argue, well, your channel isn't big enough, or there weren't enough people viewing, but again, it was the second talk show on Twitch, and the only show that was beating it was this chick with her boobs out. So
yeah, that wins every time.
It does win every time, and that's why I'm looking forward to the summer, because
when you can take your boobs out.
Yes, because I mean, I have boobs now, especially now that I'm on spironolactone consistently. One of the questions we're asked quite frequently is, why do we have a female, whether trans or cis, on the show who doesn't show cleavage? And it's, well, because it's New Hampshire,
we're in
dude,
New Hampshire,
and it's winter
and
time.
the winter has been really cold.
I think the winter is technically over. I think the
first day of spring was officially yesterday?
I think so. But it's still cold. It's actually
cold.
The temperature is going down. It's supposed to snow tonight.
Rain and snow mixed today.
Of course, it won't stick because the ground's too wet.
Yeah.
But we've actually gotten to a point where most of the snow is gone. The only part of it that's actually remaining are those 25-foot piles of snow that everybody
has in their parking lots. Yeah.
Chris Cantwell did indeed use his regular colorful language here on the Shemale vs. Nazi show. He did not, as people expected, drop what I'm going to call here the N-word, which is not normally how I refer to the word, but I'm not on my channel, and I'm not trying to get LRN banned. I would normally just say the N-word because I don't think we should be so terrified of this word that we refuse to reference it, right? But this isn't my channel.
Give the word power.
Yeah, this isn't my channel, so I'm not going to. But he did not say the N-word, as people expected. They said, if you give this guy the ability to say anything he wants, he's going to drop that every single sentence. But he never did.
He never did, yeah.
He was actually relatively tame in his speech. He was probably tamer in his speech than I was.
Well, until Turd Ferguson called in.
Yeah, and at that point, things just, God. The way that went downhill so quickly, it reminds me of my ex-marriage. My channel name is twitch.tv/Aria DiMezzo. That's ARIADIMEZZO. If you would like to follow, I normally stream The Legend of Zelda, Dwarf Fortress, Smite lately, and some others. It's mostly a gaming channel. But we're going to get back to this recent article. There's still a little bit more to go over, especially about these social media platforms that can help you get around this censorship and this soft totalitarianism. So don't go anywhere. This is The Call to Freedom.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box, so it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,317, silver at $15.53, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,972. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, a Las Vegas police officer took videos with her cell phone as she forced a mentally ill man to dance for her, taunting a man as a fellow cop force-fed him gummy bears, recorded herself demanding to see a handcuffed man's genitalia, and used every racial slur under the sun. The Free Thought Project reports the conduct was so egregious, Officer Rachel Sorkow was arrested this month on multiple charges. The deranged and cruel officer would eventually get exposed for her sick actions after she'd proudly share the footage with friends, fellow cops, and family. To Officer Sorkow, humiliating innocent mentally ill people while hurling racial slurs was entertainment fit for the whole family. Not only was Sorkow involved in a sick racist power trip, but the public servant was also pimping out her department's background check capabilities and doing favors for criminals by looking up their status in the system. Sorkow's sick acts of racism and forced humiliation would have likely been overlooked and dismissed had she not been caught using the background check system. She was caught abusing the system on at least 19 different occasions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. Israel's three largest banks have all been ordered to pay record fines, which collectively are set to total over $1 billion to the U.S. government, after the banks were found to have actively colluded with thousands of wealthy Americans in massive tax evasion schemes. Mid-press news reports the scandal has been reported widely in Israel, but has garnered little attention in the United States. The media blackout has been so surprising it was even directly mentioned by the Times of Israel, given that similar revelations about other banks and offshore tax evasion schemes, such as those contained within the Panama Papers, led to global protests and even the resignations of some world leaders. The settlements are the end result of a series of Department of Justice probes that were related to the DOJ's 2007 investigation targeting UBS AG, Switzerland's largest bank. The focus of the probe turned to Israel a few years later in 2011, when it was determined that the Swiss subsidiaries of several of Israel's largest banks had actively aided Americans seeking to launder their money. If the black smoke over the Paris skyline and charred cars and buildings, which have become characteristic of France's increasingly violent yellow vest protests over the past months, weren't alarming enough, things look to get much worse as the government prepares to escalate. The anti-media reports that in an effort to clamp down on the unraveling security situation, which has lately seen banks and residential buildings torched and luxury stores and restaurants vandalized and destroyed, the French authorities have announced the deployment of anti-terrorism military forces in order to protect and secure public buildings. Following the worsening protest situation of the past weekend, which nearly turned deadly for random civilians caught up in the mayhem of rioters clashing with police, the government will redirect counter-terror troops from Operation Sentinel to focus on Yellow Vest-related threats. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a new report, the vast majority of Americans simply want to be safe, happy, rich, comfortable, entertained, thin, and romantically fulfilled. The Onion spoke to a few of the survey's respondents who also claimed they want to be healthy, fulfilled, and successful and energized at all times.
All I want is a low-stress job, a nice house, affordable health care, and low gas prices, you know? It'd be nice to have a 35-hour work week, delicious food that's actually good for me, strong friendships, and free high-speed Wi-Fi wherever I go.
I think I'm entitled to wealth, love, cheap education, a fair legal process.
According to the survey, 63% of all Americans want their summers to be hot but not too hot. 85% want the government to stop all wars, end world hunger, and make quick and easy weight loss possible. 93% want to be emotionally satisfied, plus a soulmate, unconditional love from their parents, and a big happy dog.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I am your host, as always, Aria DiMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com. And I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from cryptotip.org.
And we've been having a discussion about social media and alternatives to it. Social media has taken over the world sort of organically. They certainly had help from the state. I don't think anybody denies that. But whether the state helped or not, Facebook or something like it was going to, so to speak, take over the world, which is to say it was going to become this thing that everyone uses.
Yeah, if not Facebook, then MySpace before it, and so on and so on.
Yeah, simply because it's super convenient. It allows you to communicate with people who are very far away. And people you may not actually see, people you may not ever actually meet.
Yeah, people you don't even know.
Become friends, real friends. A lot of people, especially older people, criticize that. It's important to point out again that Facebook ultimately is the reason I'm here in Keene, New Hampshire. It was Facebook that brought me to Will Coley's attention, which brought me onto the Call to Freedom. And it was being on the Call to Freedom, which brought me to PorkFest, which caused me to learn about the Free State Project. And although I'm not affiliated with the Free State Project, Will was like, I'm going to move to Keene. And he kept, asking me when I was going to move to Keene. I was like, well, it was either I was planning to move to Las Vegas for totally different reasons, simply because it's warm there and I love the weather. And there are so many tech jobs in Las Vegas. Good Lord. I mean, especially for me, because I do have experience as a slot technician. And that's a big deal in Vegas.
Oh, yeah. You could really clean up there.
Yeah. I've been a slot tech before. I love it. Actually, we have a casino opening here in Keene.
Oh, yeah. The one over here. Well, isn't that already open?
I don't know. I just thought about that.
Yeah, as far as I know, they just do like charity stuff. It's not like a full-on casino.
Well, if they have slot machines, is all I care about. Not because I play slots, but because I know how to fix them. And I imagine that here in a place like Keene, that is extremely rare knowledge.
If there's one other person in Keene that knows how to fix slot machines, I'd be surprised.
Indeed. Yeah, me too. So I should probably go check that out because I'm tired of my current job. It's not doing it. But anyway, so there are benefits to Facebook, to Twitch, and all of these others, and it's that that's where people are. Ian is no longer on Facebook, right?
Right.
And he likes to tell people to leave Facebook, that it's not useful and things like that. And that's fine.
Yeah, but where are you going to go?
If you have, oh, hold on, because it's more serious than that. That's fine if you have already built your following. If you are still building your following, then you need to be where the people are in order to get their attention.
Right.
Like if you do a podcast, right? And you're like, I'm not going to use any of these evil censorship-prone social medias. I'm not going to use Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. Your podcast is never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, if you've only got 20 listeners, you might be able to take half of those with you when you move. But that's just where are you going to get the new people from?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is assuming that you're not on those places promoting your show in the first place, so you don't have the old people to follow you in the first place.
Yeah, and where are you going to get new people? You have to be on the platforms where people are.
Yeah, and that's why Call to Freedom is still on Facebook and why we have no plans to leave anytime soon.
Unfortunately, but it's what it is.
I mean, repair slot machines. Winston Churchill asked whether, fix slot machines like repair them or rig the system to win.
No, you repair them.
There are way too many checks and balances to rig a system to win. They use tamper-proof tape on the chips and things like that. And anytime there is a large jackpot hit, they go in and they manually check the programming, make sure the chips haven't been tampered with, and all kinds of stuff. It's tedious, especially if you're just now adapting to these processes. But if you already know them and you already have them worked into your routine, it's not a big deal. But yeah, they can't be rigged. They are sort of rigged in the sense that if a machine hits a jackpot, it's completely random, obviously, and it may hit a jackpot again on the very next spin. But if it does, they will not pay it. They will shut that machine down and pull it out of service and assume that it's broken. So even though, it's supposed to be random and whatever result happens, if a result happens twice in a row or even within a short time frame that the casino doesn't like, they'll pull that machine and they'll refuse to pay. And in most states, the Gaming Commission won't take any issue whatsoever with that. And they don't have to prove that it's been tampered with or that it's malfunctioning or anything.
They don't feel like paying you, they won't pay you.
No, that's another issue, yeah. That's happened in the past. But you may want to keep your Facebook account just to share photos with your cousins and your college buddies, or to share your Reason articles. I don't know why they overlooked this. Reason would not be where they are today if it wasn't for Facebook.
Yeah, well, Reason was big, but well before Facebook came along. I mean, Reason has been around for decades.
Yeah, but they would be obsolete.
You think?
Nobody reads print magazines anymore.
Well, no, Reason ran this website for decades.
Yeah, as a representation of their print magazine. In the same way that New York Times has a website. I mean, Reason, historically, it began as a magazine.
Right.
And then they were like,
Reason
okay, well, the internet
magazine.
exists, so let's create a website and let's promote it. And without that, nobody would be reading Reason today. Or very few people. It's worth having accounts on Mastodon, Gab, MeWe, Minds. I'm not on MeWe. Or Minds.
Yeah, I'm on both of those, but I haven't really checked them in a while.
Arvind Vora really tried to push MeWe in the early stages of its existence. It didn't seem to go very well. It never really took off.
Yeah,
with a stupid name like that, it's hardly surprising.
True.
What about Meme Book? We need to get on that.
Meme Book?
Yeah.
Oh, right. We were talking about that yesterday.
Apparently, the future can remain welcoming for free speech and diverse viewpoints, despite the efforts of governments and their collaborators among the big tech companies. And it's just a matter of time before someone goes, we need to put social media on the blockchain. I mean, let's be realistic. Someone's going to say that and someone's going to do it.
That's not what the blockchain is for, people.
No, but it's going to have. It's not for vegetables either, but we sure enough got vegetables on the blockchain.
Yeah, here comes another ERC20 token.
Yep. We also got Bacon Coin or Baycoin, whatever they called it, which actually turned out to just be a voucher for you to receive free bacon or something like that. But it was
BS coin.
It was a cryptocurrency backed by bacon.
Okay.
But we're all going to have to make some effort to keep the welcome mat out. I would agree.
Yeah.
And that's why I do things like Shemale versus Nazi.
That's the whole point.
I wouldn't exactly characterize it as a welcome mat. Of course, we do keep the welcome mat out. Nazis, white supremacists are welcome to call into the show at any time.
If you're out there.
So we can rip apart their ideas and what's wrong with it. Why it's not good to collectivize people and why individualism is the only proper way to view an individual.
Because everyone's different.
Yep.
They may look the same, but they're different. Trust me.
Indeed they are. And that's the issue with the sort of homogenous society they wanted to build. I mean, let's assume for a moment that Hitler kept his ambitions relatively narrow. He never invaded Russia. He just took over Europe. Unlikely, granted, but whatever. And let's assume he successfully exterminated all of the Jews and all of the gypsies and all of the people he didn't like. They would still find ways to differentiate one another and to hate one another. It was going to be redheads and freckled people next.
Oh, yeah.
And then it would be short people. Then it would be people with,
disabilities, which I think they already did.
They did. They started with that, as well as the gypsies and Jews. But there's always going to be some sort of differentiating factor between people. And if you develop that collectivist mindset where you differentiate people based on these groups and hate them when they're different, you're never going to run out of a reason to hate other people. Well, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to move on to a different subject, so stay tuned for that.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
The amount of young people being brought up on criminal charges, sex offender charges, for taking nude photos of themselves and putting them online. It's just so sad to see these people having their lives just rolled right over the top of by these prosecutors that want to make it look like they're doing something good, but they're not doing anything that's helping anyone. There's no victim in this case. When you hear the term child pornography, what should come to mind, if anything, should be the idea of forcing children into sexual scenes and videotaping or photographing
adults
them.
Forcing children or somebody...
Even if it's a child forcing another child, I think the force is the issue there. If you're talking about a 15-year-old girl voluntarily choosing to take a nude photo of herself to send to her boyfriend or to post online, no one forced her to do that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom broadcast, as always, from the Liberty Radio studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. And you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And that's certainly how we would prefer people to actually get in touch with us, because, it allows you to take part in the chat that occurs over there, as well as, calling us via internet and getting substantially clearer quality than you'll get from a landline. So again, that's discord.lrn.fm. And if you're wondering what I'm doing when I was going out to break, is playing this stupid war game that I shouldn't be playing while I'm trying to do a show.
Yeah, I keep seeing you post screenshots of this, and I don't even know what the game is called.
It's called Tribal Wars.
Oh, that's Tribal Wars. Okay.
It is it does have a mobile app, and that makes it a lot easier. But
your phone's charging, right?
Yes. Why?
that you said there was a mobile app.
Yeah, there is. It notifies you of incoming attacks and things like that, which is one of the reasons that you see me clicking on it, is that it doesn't pause. It's an always going strategy game where even the milliseconds matter. Like this morning at 6 o'clock, one of my attacks landed on a tribe that I've been fighting, and I ended up landing like 21 attacks within the same second, within about an 800 millisecond window of each other.
Wow.
It's not easy to do. I didn't launch most of them, actually. One of my co-players did, and his timing isn't as precise as one would like, but it still happened. That's what makes it so intriguing, is that it requires a really good sense of timing, and being a musician, I have one of those. But moving on, with facial recognition, evidently, shoplifting may get you banned in places you've never been.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I abhor theft. I really do. I don't like thieves. I don't like con artists, and I don't like liars. To me, those are all three manifestations of the same sort of behavior, which is a lack of respect for other human beings.
I'll agree with that.
And whether it's shoplifting or taking $40 out of somebody's purse, or, doing something shady that causes them to give you money that you shouldn't get, whatever, the ultimate reality of it is that you're treating another person like they exist for your benefit.
Yeah, that's total disrespect.
Yeah. But there are hundreds of stores now using facial recognition, none that have any rules or standards to prevent abuse. And this is coming to us from CNET. Now, I am totally okay with stores using facial recognition to identify shoplifters and ban them.
Yeah.
And if they want to share that information with one another, I'm totally fine with that too.
Yeah.
I suspect that CNET is going to disagree.
Yeah, I'm sure they will find somebody to disagree with that. They're a little left of center, so I'm sure they will disagree. But
I mean, I actually find that to be a pretty good way of dealing with thieves without involving the state.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good way of demotivating people from being willing to steal in the first place if they know they're not just going to get banned from Walmart, they're going to get banned from Kroger, they're going to get banned from Market Basket, they're going to get banned from all of these grocery stores and shopping centers that they need to visit.
If you get banned from one place and suddenly you're banned from everywhere in town, and you know that's going to happen, then yeah, you're not going to do it.
Nope. At my bodega down the block, photos of shoplifters litter the windows, a warning to would-be thieves that they're being watched. We've been asked by Mortified Penguin whether I think shoplifting from Walmart is equivalent to stealing out of my purse. Yeah, I would absolutely say so. Just because Walmart has more money and a $40 item stolen from them is less representative of their total wealth than it is if somebody steals $40 from me, it's still essentially going to be the same amount that is stolen.
One, it's the same amount that's the same amount that's stolen, and two, it's the same attitude on the part of the thief. If he's going to steal a $40 item from Walmart, then what is going to stop him from stealing $40 from me?
I think the personal element is supposed to make it worse, right? Like, if they steal a $5 necklace from Walmart, that's not as bad as stealing $40 from me.
Oh, no, it is. It is, because it tells you what kind of person that is.
I don't know that I agree that they're exactly equal. I think the value of the items being stolen is what determines whether or not they're equal. So $40 being stolen from me is worse than stealing $5 worth of goods from Walmart, I would say. But anyway, those unofficial wanted posters come and go as incidents fade from the owner's memory. But with facial recognition, getting caught in one store could mean a digital record of your face is shared across the country. Stores are already using the technology for security purposes and can share that data, meaning that if one store considers you a threat, every business in that network could come to the same conclusion.
One mistake could never being able to shop again is what they say.
Well, there would always be online.
That's a little hyperbolic, but still.
Well, I mean, it could, in a dystopian view, it could mean that, or that you're relegated to only shopping online.
Yeah, because not everyone is going to get into the system.
Well, they're more likely to get into that system than they are to end up plastered on the wall, I would say, because because AI and technology is more reliable than humans.
I mean, not every store is going to share this data with every other store.
No, but in a dystopian world, they would. And one mistake in that world would result in never being able to shop again. But, again, it comes back to that point that if that world was to exist, it would take a while to have been set up.
You'd know it was coming.
And during that process, people would stop shoplifting because they would know that they would be banned from an increasing number of stores by shoplifting.
Exactly.
It ultimately comes down to a question of should you be banned from Walmart for shoplifting in Walmart? And I would say that the answer to that is absolutely.
If they want to ban you for shoplifting, that's their decision.
Mortified Penguin says that this is literally the social credit system easily applied elsewhere. I would disagree because the Chinese social credit system is one that is imposed by the state. Now, every society has some social credit system, some reputation system. Right. Even if we go all the way back to the Maghribi traders of the Mediterranean of the 11th century, they had social credit systems. Yeah. They had ways of tracking people's reputations.
We don't have to go that far back. We've got eBay feedback, Yelp reviews, the 5 stars on Uber, which don't mean a whole lot, but we do have systems like this already.
Yeah, and they're necessary for strangers to interact, for them to have these mechanisms to say, okay, well, this person is trustworthy, this person isn't, I would suggest. While that may be good news for shopkeepers, though, it raises concern about potential overreach. But getting back to the question, because I skipped part of it, as long as the state doesn't get involved in it, I don't really care what private companies do.
Private companies are not forcing you to do things.
No, they're certainly not forcing people to steal. So the consequences for stealing being raised a bit, or actually being lowered a bit, because in my worldview, this is how they would punish you. They would just ban you. They would remove you from their property and then ban you from their store.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily have to go to jail.
Yeah, you wouldn't go to jail, so the system would actually be more humane and significantly more tolerant than what we have now. This is the Call to Freedom.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you
an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you can go this way?
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey.
Who do you think you
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, broadcast as always from the Liberty Radio Studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. And we've been talking about facial recognition software and its applications to shoplifting and the possibility of stores sharing this software in order to keep people perpetually banned from all stores once they shoplift from a specific store. Now, I would certainly rather there be some sort of time limitation on this where if a person steals, then maybe 3 years or something like that. I mean, especially if they're younger, if they're 16, just hold it until they're 18, and then leave them alone. Well, teenagers do stupid stuff.
We have the technology here to share this information. It's up to the store what they're going to do with it.
Sure.
They might not ban you at all.
But we're joined now by Mortified Penguin, who has called in using 603-283-6160. Mortified, what are your thoughts on the subject? You said on Twitch that it's essentially the social credit system.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of clarify that, because after that point, I was like, okay, I really can't, continue sharing my thoughts just on the Twitch chat.
Sure.
And I wanted to say,
well, we appreciate that, because somebody posted a bunch of text a little while ago, and I'm just totally not reading it.
Yeah, wall of text, 2 walls of text.
I think it was an old joke or whatever. But anyways, I wanted to say that it's not that I think that it's like the concept. It's not that I'm against the. I don't want to really get into the whole shoplifting from Walmart the same as shoplifting from your purse or anything. That's a little more complicated, and it's even more complicated because I have pretty. I mean, it's a complicated issue, but basically, I'm not talking about the implementation of the system, but the technology involved and kind of the system, the technical aspects are exactly kind of what the China is aiming for ultimately with the social credit system. And obviously they are, it's question companies and the state, but basically, they are monitoring any kind. I mean, this can be applied to anything besides shoplifting. That's what I'm saying, that it can be applied to anything, and it could be in China, you can throw out too many cigarette butts in public and end up not being able to get on an airplane or something. And I mean, that's just the exact same technology implemented a different way.
That's the thing about technology, is that it's neutral. It's true neutral. It's not good or evil. It's how you use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But I mean,
China's doing one thing with
the exact same technology.
Walmart's doing another thing with it.
Sure, yeah. But what he's alleging is that the same technology, once implemented within Walmart, could be easily co-opted by the state to implement China's social credit system here, because the infrastructure to do that would already be in place
and paid for by.
Well, I don't really consider Walmart entirely distinct from the state, but
fair point.
Without getting too much into that, I mean, even thinking about now, think about if this becomes further implemented. Like you said, one person shoplifts one place and they're banned from any number of things. You could be banned from, you could be banned from buying from Netflix or something, and getting go on your credit score and prevent you from purchasing a car or something like that. And of course, I'm not condoning.
No, the state might do that, but companies are not going to do that, because
that's certainly true. With the system we have now, having an arrest for theft or something like that, I don't know whether it's going to actually appear on your credit report, because I don't know the intricacies of all of that. But I would imagine that it's certainly going to make it more difficult for a person to qualify for any sort of loan, whether it's because they
talking about an arrest.
I'm sorry?
They were caught by the system. Let's say they were caught by this system with facial recognition. I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. This person isn't trustworthy because they're a thief, so we shouldn't give them a loan. I'm fine with that.
But, they can still have groceries delivered and get Uber Eats or whatever because they're paying for it.
Can they?
Why wouldn't they be able to?
Why wouldn't they be able to? This is not the state we're talking about. This is companies that are doing business. They don't want to be stolen from, but they will certainly do business.
Yeah, and maybe Uber Eats wouldn't see any kind of risk of doing business with that person. But I'm just saying that these corporations already form, a very close parallel to the state. But if it became more so the case, then this kind of enforcement could easily be used. Well, it can easily be used by the government itself anyway. I mean, the very same technology could be used by the government. I'm not talking about necessarily the implementation. I'm just saying this technology could easily be used to take certain behavior and have all kinds of ramifications, including, the airlines are technically supposedly private companies too, but I mean, maybe you couldn't get on an airplane. Maybe you couldn't qualify for, a student loan or something. And I mean, I think that has wider social implications that we should, think about whether if this is a great idea. Not that we can do anything about it.
Well, the thing is, companies don't have an incentive to not do business with people. They may have those imposed on them by states, but that's not something they would come up with on their own.
Well, with
All
some
things
people
being
they
equal,
do.
They do business with you.
I would certainly say they do have some incentive not to do business with certain people. Like you have...
Well, no, I mean, I think Michael raises a good point.
That they don't have an incentive to not do business with people?
Right. A company is trying to sell their product, make money, and if you've got money to pay for the product, they'll generally sell it to you.
Yeah, unless allowing you into their store causes them to lose product because you steal.
Right, because you stole from them. But that wouldn't necessarily stop them from delivering the product to you if you pay online.
Well, no, because you wouldn't have to come into their store to get it.
Right. They give it to you in the parking lot. Like Walmart has the free pickup now in the parking lot.
But UPS would be disincentivized to do business with you if, you performed an armed robbery on the driver. So I think what we're talking about here is essentially the same thing, is somebody digging a hole for themselves and having to face the consequences of that.
Right. If you're engaging in a behavior that poses risk to people, now they can find out about it, and other companies can decide whether to do business with you and under what conditions.
Yeah, to me, that's a
I'm not so much
positive thing.
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying. Well, but that's exactly technology. I guarantee you'll see the Chinese state. Actually, they're already using that.
Well, they're already doing.
I believe they're already using the technology. Yeah.
China's
it's
already doing worse things
used.
than that.
Oh yeah, they have. The entire country is not only living with cameras, which is old technology, obviously, but yes, they have that facial recognition capability and everything. So I mean,
and it's a serious problem.
The existence of this is.
But the thing is that an airline here is not going to prevent you from traveling just because you have a low social credit score. They might prevent you from traveling because
how do you know that?
What?
Airlines aren't really private companies. They're completely regulated and subsidized by the state. They are essentially a small number of competing, state entities.
Let's just say they would rather
really
not.
Viable on their own.
I would agree with that statement. They're mortified penguin.
And if they can find a way, if they can, limit your ability to travel, that would be that'd be just as much of an incentive for them to do that as the Chinese state has. The people.
Oh yeah, the state would love to restrict people.
That's all I wanted to say. That's what I meant by that.
Michael says you're talking past each other.
Sorry.
Is there might be a delay on one of our lines here because I'm gonna try this again. I don't see how an airline would not want to maximize its revenue by getting as many people on board and charging as much as they can for even the cheap tickets. All things being equal. Now, the state is certainly going to influence that and say, no, you can't carry this passenger or that passenger, but the airline's not going to care as long as you're well-behaved and you pay your fare. They don't have any other reason to complain. Unless a state is telling them not to
board
you or not to fly you, which does happen.
And they're very...
I think that if they had their own what we're calling a social credit system or their own reputation system, they would have a different set of criteria to determine what passengers they wanted and which ones they didn't.
Bingo! That's where I was going.
And I would still be okay with that as long as the criteria actually was likely to make the person a bad passenger. We're going to be back with Mortified Penguins, so don't go anywhere. This is the Call to Freedom.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar. and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom broadcast, as always, from the Liberty Radio Studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. Maybe you really like the show and would like to know what you can do to show your support. Well, social media shares certainly help, but so does cash. And you can do that using Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our sponsors there are currently helping to keep the show up and running, including our podcast, which again has moved to calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, and our website at calltofreedomlive.com. up and running, and we can't thank them enough for that. So if you would like to do that, there are also some special perks and bonuses like sponsoring the Libertarian Drama of the Week when there is Libertarian Drama, and other little cool, nifty things like that. And they will get first access to the video of me drinking a half a cup of hot sauce as soon as I get said video. So there are some exclusivity features to it as sort of a reward for, you know,
when we've got stuff, we'll give it to you if you're a patron at Patreon.
Absolutely. And again, that's patreon.com/call-to-freedom. And we've been talking about facial recognition software and the dangers of these social credit systems that are based on reputation. There's certainly the potential within any credit system that is going to be rubber stamped or co-opted by the state in order to infringe on a person's rights. That's going to be a danger with any sort of technology. I mean, whether we talk about guns that were, initially invented for a person, I guess, technically speaking, to defend themselves. I don't know.
Maybe
it could be either way. Maybe it was to shoot other people. I don't know. Or more than likely, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it was invented to shoot animals that weren't humans.
Okay.
But it was co-opted by the state, certainly, and used to oppress people's rights, even though it was a perfect tool for preventing that. Facebook is a similar thing. It was used in the Arab Spring, as we talked about, or as we alluded to previously, to help facilitate these overthrows of oppressive totalitarian governments.
Now, why didn't Facebook censor those?
Well, because it was a different era then. It certainly was. That was before the rise of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump pushed the left so close to the brink of insanity that I'm not sure they're going to be able to find their legs and recover. I think Donald Trump caused them to go insane.
They weren't already insane?
They weren't. They weren't demanding that Facebook ban all kinds of hate speech. They weren't demanding that Facebook and Twitter bow to the demands of authoritarian governments. They weren't demanding that offensive things not be allowed on social media. It wasn't until Donald Trump became president or announced his nomination for president that these things really took off. And we started seeing these widespread bans and this overwhelming virtue signaling against hate speech. And it began around that time. And I remember watching it to people who were used to just saying any stupid sort of thing they wanted on YouTube. And suddenly they're like, oh, my channel's got 2 strikes on it. I have to be really careful or I'm going to get permanently banned. And it seemed to be the Trump campaign that caused all of that to begin escalating.
Or at least it started around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're making a pretty good case there.
Well, yeah, and I don't know whether or not Trump meant to do that, and it's all part of his 4-dimensional chess to take over the world or whatever. I would suggest that that's probably not the case. But, there's certainly a lot of liberals who demand that free speech no longer exist.
Yeah, you really don't want to go down that road. We know where it leads, and it's not somewhere you want to go.
No, and if all it takes for a person's speech to be destroyed or for their free speech rights to be destroyed is to label it as hate speech. And we have cultivated this environment of microaggressions where calling someone a boy when they identify as a girl qualifies as hate speech, then you're really, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you're destroying people's right to communicate.
Yeah, you really... The society they're building is not one that is going to be conducive to human life.
But back to the article at CNET, privacy advocates fear that regulations cannot keep up with the technology. Indeed, they can't. That's why cryptocurrency is stomping the crap out of the federal government. They're still trying to figure out how to regulate Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency has already moved on to zero knowledge proofs and things like that. They're back in 2007. We're in 2019. And that's always been the nature of the state.
The state is always going to be playing catch up with technology at this point.
Yeah. And it's only going to get worse.
So, yeah, the forces of liberty, I guess, will always be one step ahead slightly, but we still have to work to make sure we stay a step ahead.
They say unless we really rein in this technology, there's a risk that we enjoy every day. There's a risk that what we enjoy every day, the ability to walk around anonymous without fearing that you're being tracked and identified, could be a thing of the past.
Welcome to the 21st century. Have you been to London lately?
Yeah,
they have more cameras than people in London. And if you are on in a public street in London, you are on CCTV. Welcome to the future.
Do they really have more cameras than people?
Last I checked, yes.
Good God. Well, we have more guns than people.
Well, I much prefer that society.
Absolutely. The technology is appearing in more places every day. Taylor Swift uses it at her concerts to spot potential stalkers with cameras hidden in kiosks for selfies. Wow.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Yeah, if you know who your stalkers are and you've got pictures of them, then
Well, it's
yeah.
to spot potential stalkers.
How do they spot potential stalkers?
I don't know. I'm going to have to click it in order for us to find out. And it's also from CNET because, of course, it is. I suppose.
Not getting enough cash back.
That sounds like an ad. Let's
it was.
Not
It's stupid autoplays. It's being used in schools in Sweden to mark attendance and at airports in Australia for passengers checking in. Yeah, that's going to be the case in the United States as well.
Yeah.
What they're doing with your recognized face, it may be nothing at the moment, and they may not have applied facial recognition software to it, but your face is already there on camera.
Yeah.
You're already being tracked and monitored, even if they haven't actually tagged you yet.
Yeah, they are actually doing this in Heathrow where they snap a picture of your face at security, and then when you get to your gate, they compare the picture of your face that they snapped at security to make sure you're the same person.
Make sure you didn't shapeshift into a reptilian overlord on your way through, or what?
Right.
Okay. That's a valid approach, I guess.
Well, I guess they've been having an issue with people coming into the airport, checking in, and then handing their tickets to somebody else, and their fake passport or whatever, and then that person goes through and...
Supermarkets in the United Kingdom are using it to determine whether customers are old enough to buy beer. Millions of photos uploaded onto social media are being used to train facial recognition without people's consent.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that one last week?
You consented when you uploaded that picture. Sorry. You gave them you literally gave Facebook the right to distribute that picture and use it in whatever way they wanted.
Yeah, I guess you did.
Revenue from facial recognition is expected to reach $10 billion by 2025. But despite that forecast for rapid growth, there's no nationwide regulation on the technology in the U.S. Yeah, what do you want the government to do about it?
Yeah, what can the government do about it except abuse people?
They don't seem to actually propose a solution about what they want the government to do.
Come up with an idea and we'll talk about it and probably make fun of you. But
California-based video surveillance startup Cogniz launched in 2016 and now has about 30 retail and commercial customers with thousands of security cameras using its facial recognition technology. They use it to identify known shoplifters. If a logged person tries entering the store, Cogniz's facial recognition will be able to detect that and flag security. The company's founder and director said in an interview that we are a cloud system, so inherently multi-location. Oh boy, they were really mining for quotes when they just stuck that right in the middle with absolutely no relative content.
Context, yeah.
Cogniz also offers a feature called collaborative security, which lets clients opt in to share facial recognition data with other customers and share potential threats across locations. That would mean that facial recognition could detect you in a store you've never even visited before. And again, the only thing I can really say to that is don't shoplift.
Don't shoplift.
That seems to be the solution here. I'm totally okay with increasing the free market penalties to shoplifting if we correspondingly eliminate
the state penalties.
The state penalties. Being banned from a store is infinitely less of a big deal than being thrown into prison. And I think that these sort of systems, if we properly implemented them, and if we remove the state from the equation, they would teach us that we can actually solve a great deal of our problems, all of our problems, in fact, without the state. Well, this has been the Call to Freedom, but don't go anywhere because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth